Thanks, Amy, for that excellent summary of what we know so far about the housing challenges facing youth as they age out of care. This next section on the agenda is a panel entitled Housing Resources for Youth Aging Out of Foster Care. And it's designed to provide sort of a big picture overview of what resources currently exist to support housing for youth aging out. And as you'll hear from Caroline's presentation, not all of these resources are actually tailored for this particular population. So specifically, we're going to focus on three main sources of assistance in this panel. The first is housing assistance funded by states through an allocation of the Chafee Foster Care Independence Funds. The second is housing assistance funded by HUD through its mainstream housing programs. And the third is non-federal housing resources. So first we'll hear a presentation from Mike Pergament, Senior Fellow at the Urban Institute. And his presentation this morning will describe a research effort that he led for the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Planning and Evaluation within HHS to explore the extent to which states are choosing to dedicate funds provided under the Chafee Foster Care Independence Program to support the housing needs for youth aging out of foster care. Then we'll hear from my colleague Caroline Krause, who is a housing program specialist at HUD in the Office of Housing Voucher Programs. And Caroline will provide a high-level overview of the two largest programs that provide rental assistance to individuals at HUD, Public Housing and the Housing Choice Voucher Program. And finally, we'll hear from Ruth White, who is the co-founder and executive director of the National Center for Housing and Child Welfare. And Ruth will provide an overview of how state and local funds can be utilized to support housing assistance for youth aging out of foster care. And then following the presentations, just as with Amy's, we've set aside time for question and answers. And if I can just ask during the Q&A period when you get the mic, if you could just say your name and where you're from, that would be helpful because there's a really broad set of participants today and it would be nice to know who all is in the room. So now I'll turn it over to Mike.